So I wanted to do an example of how we might solve a problem using Kirchhoff's loop rules. Typically, you want to use Kirchhoff's loop rules when it isn't really clear that you can break down the circuit you've given into simply resistors in series and parallel. And often, almost always, a circuit that you want to use the loop rules with will have more than one EMF, like this one. So in general, this isn't like a super complicated circuit, but it does have two batteries, which makes it really difficult to think about things in terms of series and parallel. So instead, we use Kirchhoff's loop rules. Now, basically, there are two different rules that we use. One is called the Junction Rule, which basically allows us to relate the currents that might be flowing in different portions of the circuit. And then the second rule is the loop rule, which allows us to choose a closed loop. You can choose whatever you want. And as we go around that loop, we have to think about whether there's a potential gain or loss and how we will express that. The idea being that around the entire loop, the sum of gains and losses will be equal to 0 because we will get back to where we started, and so we can't have a change in potential. It means that the total change over the entire loop has to be 0. Now, what I want to emphasize when we do these problems is you don't really have to agonize about what's a good loop to choose and what's a good way to draw your current. Just draw them, write the equations, and then do the algebra. Really, the hardest part about these problems is doing the algebra. So you do need to be able to determine which branches there's going to be different amounts of current. And the places where the current can merge or split up, which are called the junctions, is going to help you. There's a junction here and a junction here. And so because of that, I know that there's going to be a certain amount of current through this portion of the circuit, a different amount of current through this portion of the circuit, and then even a different amount through the middle. So I know there's going to be 3 different amounts of current or 3 different currents in this circuit. And so I want to label them. So I just do it. I don't really think about it a lot, although I am going to look at my notes to make sure I have the same choices that I made earlier. And so basically I said that current 1 in this loop is going to kind of come down, go across like this, come up through the battery and go through there. Current 2 is going to go down through the middle. Current 3 is going to kind of go around this portion of the circuit like this. Now, if I want to write the relationship between these 3 currents, I choose a place where they are going to join or split. And I can write the currents that come in, which would be I1, are equal to the currents that come out, which is I1 plus I2. So that is an equation I get from using the junction rule. Now, the next 2 equations that I get, because if you haven't noticed, I have 3 things that I don't know. I have 3 unknowns, the 3 currents. That means I'm going to need 3 equations. That's just math. That's just algebra. The other 2 equations that I'm going to get are going to be from the loop rule and thinking about potential rises and gains or losses as I go around the circuit. And we'll talk a little bit about the rules as I go through it. I'm going to do 2 loops. I'm going to go around this part in that direction, in that clockwise direction. So that's going to be called loop 1. And then I'm going to go around loop 2 in that direction. And so as I go around those loops, I'm going to determine whether I have potential gains or losses and what they would be equal to. So I'm going to do loop 1 first. And I'm going to start at the negative terminal of this battery, and I'm going to go up. You know, it does show I'm going around like this. I'm going to go up through the battery from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. And when I go from negative to positive, that's a potential gain. And so that's going to be a gain of 1.6 volts. Now I'm going to continue around in my loop. Nothing happens. Now I go down through the middle. And notice as I go through resistor 1, I'm going in the direction of current 2. If I go through a resistor with the current, that's a potential loss, and it's equal to I times R, Ohm's law. So this is minus I2 times 2 kiloohms. Then I'm going to continue down through the middle, and I'm going to go over this direction, go through current, resistor 2. Now, when I'm in that part, that's current 1, and it will be in the direction of current 1, so that's another potential loss. It's going to be equal to I1 times resistor 1, which is 1 kiloohm. And so that's the equation I get going through loop 1. The rules that I used here was going from negative to positive terminal of the battery is a potential gain. Going through a resistor in the direction of the current is a potential loss. Over here I'm going to do loop 2, and loop 2 is going to give me the opportunity to look at some of the other rules. I'm going to start for loop 2, but notice as I go through this battery in the direction of loop 2, I'm going from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. And that indicates a potential loss. And so I'm going to start off with a minus 1.4 volts. Then I'm going to continue around, and I go through resistor 3, but I am going with the direction of current 3. So that's equal to minus I3 times 1 kiloohms. Then I'm going to go up through the middle. Notice as I go up through the middle and I go through resistor 1, I'm going against current 2. So in that case, when I go through a resistor in the opposite direction of the current, that's a potential gain. So this is going to be plus I2 times 2 kiloohms. I go through that, I continue up through the top, and I get back to the battery, and I'm all done. So now I have 3 equations and 3 unknowns. You know, how you solve them is really up to you. I think we all get our methods that work for us, and we stick with them. Usually what I try to do is I focus on these 2 equations, but I want to have them in terms of the same 2 currents. This one is in terms of current 1 and current 2, but this one is in terms of current 2 and current 3. I'm going to use this rule that I1 is equal to I2 plus I3 and put it in here. I'm going to make that substitution. So loop 1 is going to change into 1.6 minus 2 kiloohms I2 minus 1 kiloohm I2 plus I3 equals 0. And my pen's getting a little funky, so I'm going to switch to my pink here. So I want to make sure that I collect all my terms well, so I'm going to rewrite this. So that's what my loop 1 now equation has changed to. And I'm going to write under it my loop 2 equation. Oops, I want to line up the same currents underneath each other because it's going to be easier to see what I want to do next. So when you have 2 simultaneous equations, there's really sort of 2 ways in my mind that you can go about solving them. We can use one of the equations and solve for one of the currents and substitute in the other one. To be honest, with these Kirchhoff's rules, that gets kind of ugly algebra, gets a little messy. I really like to just add the 2 or subtract the 2 equations so that one of these unknowns will drop out, which means these coefficients have to be the same. Sometimes that means you're going to have to multiply one of the equations by a constant, like 2 or 3 or something like that. You notice here that these both have a coefficient of -1. So I know that if I take this entire second equation and subtract it from the first, that these two terms are going to add up to be 0, because I'll have minus I3 plus I3, essentially, if I subtract them. So I'm going to do that. When I take 1.6 minus a minus 1.4, I get 3.0. And then I get minus 5 kiloohms, I2 equals 0. So I can solve for I2. It's going to be 3 over 5 kiloohms. So I'm going to use the exponent properly. And that tells me I have a current of 6 times 10 to the minus 4, which is 0.6 milliamps. I'm just going to keep it like that. And now I'm going to, now I can use that equation, I can use that current and substitute it into one of my other, let me get out of the way so you can see it. I'm going to use that I2 in one of these two equations to solve for the other current, I3. So I substituted this into the top equation. So I got 1.6 minus 3 kiloohms. I'm going to do the 10 to the third just so I don't forget. 6 times 10 to the minus 4 minus 1 times 10 to the third times I3 equals 0. And another thing that I should mention, and we're going to see it happen in a moment, is that if your current turns out to be negative, it means you chose the wrong direction. Sort of, this has happened before. So not to worry. Negative sign only means you chose the wrong direction. However, as you continue on to find later currents, you have to use that negative sign because you had used the wrong direction in every equation. So those equations reflect the direction that you chose. If we rearrange this expression, we actually will find that I3 is equal to minus 2 times 10 to the minus 4 amps. And now we can go back to our loop rule, and I1 is equal to I2 plus I3. And so I2 was 6 times 10 to the minus 4. I3 was minus 2 times 10 to the minus 4. So this is 4 times 10 to the minus 4 amps. And we are done. So, like I said, the worst part of these problems is the algebra, but you also obviously have to write the correct equations using the rules correctly. Otherwise, you don't have a prayer. All right, enjoy.